Man, listen, man. We got the Speakeasy Boy Show in the building, man, on a Monday. Man, we brought back, man, by popular man. We got Angelo Dawkins of the Street Prophets in the building. Man, I got my man Spike Reed, David H. Bloom. Listen, man, let's get the elephant in the room out the way, man. You got a big old Ohio State sign in the background. You was flexing last time we were on the show. You was smelling yourself when you was on that show. You was punching up on your chest. I seen you all on Twitter. You getting your Twitter on. You was all over the place. You was running amok, and then they got brakes beat off them. Explain yourself.
Man, I had a vision. I had a vision.
We don't get mad at optimism here. We don't get mad at optimism.
Y'all saw how Ryan Clark gets swagoo word when LSU won the national title. I thought I was gonna be living in that kind of a limelight right there. But then what happened was, it was stupid on my part. 2014, we running high against Bama. We've seen Nick Saban go up against people that have beaten him before, and he's just changed the way they think. I thought it was going to be different this time, but unfortunately, old Saint Nick was Saint Nick, and that has to be the best Bama team for a reason to ever touch a football field under Nick Saban. And, man, it was – yeah, man, I was kind of quiet off social media.
It's something to call knowing we know Bama as a powerhouse throughout most of this decade, this next decade, but for that to be one of the best Bama teams we've ever seen now, already after establishing themselves, is So it's fine. The home team pride, the optimism, it's fine, but
man, you know what? But it's okay. At the end of the day, I will say this. Michigan fans can only rely on Bama beating us. Michigan fans will never beat Ohio State.
Michigan
team
fans
up north
won't be there.
Yo, for real talk though, I'm gonna keep it real, man. Because you know me, I'm feeling it too, though, man. Not that I didn't know what they were capable of. I was like, yo, I was just liking the Ohio State story. I was like a Justin Fields, who's still gonna be a baller in the NFL, man. And I was just, but man, listen, they're playing Ohio State is playing a 4-4, which is an interesting defense to play, man. They got that track team out there, AD. It just started getting out of hand, fam. It just started getting a little out of hand, bro. That's all.
Man, all I know is once I saw two things that were glaring to me, okay? Jalen Waddle burnt Sean Wade on a freaking crossing route on one ankle, and then that hit from Proctor to Najee Harris where he just smacked him. Any other running backs falling or dropping that. Najee Harris said, nah, bro, I'm a grown man. I'm going to go and take this.
Najee Harris is one of the best running backs we've seen in college football in a long time.
Yeah, he's a beast, though. Yeah, he's a beast, man. He's going to do really well in the league. Yo, shout out to Dylan Matthews, Will 5 Stud, man. Everybody that's in the chat right now. Yo, before, man, I heard you say something about dropping, man. We going to get to football, and before I get to football, listen. Somebody else got dropped, man, on the weekend, man.
Somebody ducked himself into a left.
I see AD was putting all kind of Conor McGregor slander all over his social media platforms. All his various social media platforms. He was doing memes and GIFs and all kinds of stuff. Now, listen, Conor McGregor lost in the UFC fight. Now I'm gonna kick it over to y'all, but AD, I'm gonna kick it to AD. But he lost the fight, but I'm a believer he shouldn't have fought anyway. I'm thinking after he made the money with Mayweather, I think after you make generational wealth and your life has been validated through boxing, it's hard to tell somebody to come back to the octagon and fight for a little bit of money. So AD, I kick it to you. What do you think of the fight? Should Conor have been gotten in the octagon? Is this the last we've seen of Conor McGregor?
I don't think it's the last that we've seen of him. Obviously, I think him taking those long layoffs in between the fights are a huge, major deal. Now, don't get me wrong. One of those long layoffs was due to suspension for, Yeah, Khabib sonning him, Khabib sonning him and the rest of his camp. But I think like those long layoffs took a toll. He looked great against Cowboy, but real talk, as good as Cowboy is, and I'm a big fan of Cowboy, how many real like big fights of that magnitude has he really been under?
True.
And and I'm gonna be real. I did not see Poirier winning. I just wanted a
He
good
dusted
fight.
him. He dusted him.
I didn't. Not a lot of people saw him winning, and not a lot of people saw him winning second round out of 5.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, if there's one thing that we learned about Conor going back to his Nate Diaz fight when he tried to rush on all that weight, if you just withstand one good punch from him, it's pretty he doesn't really go past the second round much, and that's exactly what happened. And you also got to remember Dustin Poirier and Conor fought before, and he caught Poirier. Yeah, he caught Poirier. And so obviously I know Poirier kind of had that in the back of his mind, but that takedown in the first couple minutes, that was huge because we know Conor can't wrestle. Conor has trouble with wrestling type of fighters, even with Chad Mendez. I mean, but I get it. And then the crazy part was I think Dana White was more shocked because they were really pushing that Conor could be
yes.
But the one thing that here's what once Poirier took him down, I'm like, bro, even if Conor wins, come on, man. You got taken down by a dude that don't even rest. It was bro, Khabib, he stuffed Khabib's head twice, but Khabib was still connected to his leg and he was still scrambling. You could stop a shot, but you got to totally separate yourself. And Conor has shown an inability to do that, and it's going to be hard for him to.
Let me just tell you, man.
How's his back game that week still, though, man?
After a whole career, let me just be clear, man. Conor McGregor, WASHED. He is washed. It's over. Rinse cycle washed. It's a wrap for Conor. Let me first and foremost, I saw Conor when he was fighting. All right, we get it. When he fought Floyd, right? Obviously, we knew that. Everyone who knows anything about any type of fighting knew that was over, right? Before it even happened, we knew it was over. But the thing that really killed Conor in that fight was his endurance. Floyd played. Realistically, Floyd could have got him out of there within the first couple of rounds, but he decided to kind of just
play the right game.
He wanted to make it show.
Yeah, but he still let Conor last 10 rounds though. That don't look good though. He still let him.
No, it don't. But I think
it don't look good. But he was just messing with him though. It would be different if Conor was actually sticking with him. But a stat that gets thrown out that's very overrated. I feel Conor landed this many more punches than Pacquiao or Miguel Cotto. I'm like, bro.
So what?
It was all right. Floyd Mayweather was just walking up like this the whole time. Just
Mayweather knocked out on the mat right now after that fight.
The whole time. I remember they specifically were saying that was the most aggressive that Floyd's been in a long time because Floyd was actually walking him down as opposed to Floyd usually playing defense. So that don't mean nothing as far as him getting hits on him. Of course, when the man's coming to you, you're going to get more hits than when the man's coming from you. My point is with McGregor, it's even in this particular fight, when at one point I was watching, I said, yo, this dude looks tired. And it was second round? And I'm sitting there yo, Conor looked tired. We watched, we had a whole group watching the fight, and I'm sitting there, yo, he looked really tired. He got brought to the ground the first time, and I was like, oh, it might be a wrap. He got out of it, and then once he started kind of walking him down and got him in that little corner, I was like, oh, he's tired. There's nothing to do with that one, bro.
Damn. You know what else was a big part of that?
Yeah.
Remember when Conor scooted to the fence, he got up. They were still on the fence. That takes a lot out of you. But then Conor also tried to tried to go back to the well with the cowboy shoulder freaking deal.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin was like, wait, man, I'm gonna shoulder you too, dog.
They went back and forth with that shoulder each other back and forth for most of that round. Most of the first round was spent either on the ground or against the cage. And whether it was Poirier against the cage or Conor against the cage, they were against the cage. And when Conor got put in that corner, and he was arguably winning the fight. I mean, if he was, because I know he can't go to the ground, and I know that's strategy. But once
tuning Poirier up,
he was landing shots. But credit to Poirier, he has a chin.
Yeah,
he has a chin. But once Conor got what Conor was doing, once he gets in that corner, he starts trying to duck him, right? Instead of putting his hands up, he kind of gets low, shrinks his body, and then he tries to duck some of the punches. He almost got himself out of that corner till he ducks low, tries to almost duck forward, and then that little left straight uppercut connects, And all that momentum that Poirier used to throw that punch with Conor's instability on his legs, trying to duck everything and being exhausted, just put him to the mat. He couldn't even get his hands up.
Hold on, AD. So wait a minute. With that being said, though, I think he's done not because he's lost, just because I don't think his heart's in it anymore. Like I said, when you fight for something, when you come from the humble beginnings that he came from, and you rise to the ranks, and you get that moment where you get to fight Floyd, and you make more money in one fight with Floyd than you have in your entire UFC career, and you get that generational kind of wealth. I just think it's hard for a fighter to go back to the octagon. But what I'm trying to say is that you don't think he's done, then what's next for him, though? What's next for Conor McGregor?
Him and Nate Diaz are tied 1-1. Him and Poirier are tied 1-1. Go ahead and kiss that Khabib rematch goodbye, but there are some other matches.
Not gonna get that one.
I would like to see him versus. I like to see Conor versus Gaethje. I like to see Conor versus Michael Chandler, who put on a show.
I'll watch that.
Who hit a crazy dangerous backflip?
Yeah.
After knocking him out after a 30-second knockout.
Man.
All right, so hold on. So we got yo. Shout out to Ryan. Yo, Elite Squad was good. We get to that right now, man. Yo, Ryan, good to see you in there, man. You putting over the Sixers. We'll get to them in a second. We really will. I see you gassing the Sixers. Number 1 in the comments. Undefeated, starting 5. They are for real. Sixers go all the way. It's funny. I got this in the finals, keeping it real with you.
I do too.
But AD, we got to Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Green Bay Packers last night. Now, let me tell you something right now, Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits. I made a decree, and I reneged on it, and I said, this ain't probably what I should go with. I'm wrong. My take, this was the baddest take I've ever made. And I actually am going back, and I might have been on to something here when I said Aaron Rodgers can't get it done in the big moments. Prove me wrong right now. Put me wrong, Angelo Dawkins.
Well,
he can't. He can't.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. They should have went for it on 4th down. Matt LaFleur took the ball in his hand.
Look.
I'm not blaming Aaron Rodgers for that though. That wasn't his call.
The third and goal when he had the right side wide open to run.
Wide open.
But he was staring down his receiver. He wasn't even looking towards that way. He was staring down
that way.
He was staring down a guy that was double cut. The first two narratives about this game, because AD, the one of the biggest Aaron Rodgers fans you will ever meet is me. So when it comes to praising that guy, and when it comes to praising that team, I will do it. But I'll be the first to tell you that the two narratives I want to dish out of the way right now is this whole narrative that because Rodgers says his future's uncertain, he's trying to be Eric Bledsoe with the "I want out" tweet. Don't start immediately drafting up all these trades and he's gonna go here. It's not fair to the guy, and it's not fair to the team to immediately just start throwing out those tabloids. And number 2, everybody's going to throw, whether it was a good idea, bad idea, whatever, everyone's going to throw a lot of hate on, well, that game was lost because they didn't go for it. That game was lost.
I say that
well before they didn't go for it.
That game was lost when Kevin King, they had cover one high safety, and you're playing man, and you decide to just not even guard the end zone, bro.
Not even Scotty Miller. If he just played a bit deeper and he just kind of zoned him up.
This game's over. I was like, this game's over.
Put it on the floor. That play right there was it.
Yeah, they're going for it on 4th down, and then you think they're about to go for a field goal?
Why?
And you call that play the end zone, bro.
Play the end zone. If they get 3, they get 3. 3's better than. Look, the point is, I'll tell you exactly where that game was lost. Was that a horrible first quarter? Absolutely. Was that a horrible play call? Was it horrible that they couldn't connect with Devontae Adams on that 1st and goal play in the end zone?
When we gonna talk about Aaron Rodgers, David Blow?
I love Aaron Rodgers, but that game was lost.
Aaron Rodgers had a better game than Tom Brady.
He did, but that game was lost when Jair Alexander picked off Tom Brady 2 times in a row, and Green Bay threw 6. Aaron Rodgers threw 6 incompletions in a row.
Yo, David, I didn't realize I was unaware that Green Bay's O-line was so terrible. How many times did this dude get sacked that game? Yo?
Listen, check it out. Let me keep it. Hold on. For real. Listen.
Billy Turner got absolutely beaten.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not putting this on that offensive line. Oh, hell no.
Bro,
No. Angelo Dawkins, what? Angelo Dawkins, what is that? What, Angelo
Bruh,
Dawkins?
come on, man.
Listen,
There was
Shaq Barrett was schooling their third string tackle, bro. Their original right tackle was playing left tackle.
Had Billy Turner 77 marked on his calendar, and he schooled him. If that line protects Aaron Rodgers and he actually has time, it is a completely different game.
Hold on.
Changes the game.
Hey, not only that, let's be real here. Okay, there's this thing called pass interference. Refs taking over the games.
Lord,
Dear Lord,
Listen, you're right.
Pause the whole game, but you call that flop at the end. But
the worst call ever.
You don't call, but I'm gonna tell you right now. I can point out the pick by Sean Murphy Bunting, a hold on the shoulder of Alan Lazard. A hold.
My man's jersey was off the shoulder pad.
Another hold. There were holds on Devontae Adams. You don't call. Fine, if you're gonna say let him play, you let him play all game until the final play.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, I gotta address this offensive line thing. You forced Tom Brady to throw 3 picks. Aaron Rodgers got to bring that home, man. He got to bring that home.
It's also not just on the O-line. Aaron Rodgers got it home.
Aaron Rodgers do got to bring it home, but at the same time, dog, it's crazy when your DB's holding and not getting called for it as well.
If we're talking about that, 80, that's a different story because that is egregious what they call in the last last call, the one that turned into a pick that flipped the game as well. That's tough. These are calls that are. This is the
play before Scotty Miller.
That was the play before the Scotty Miller play when Sean Murphy Bunting, if you wanted to go watch it, had his hand on the shoulder of Alan Lazard and pulled him. 3 other times they were doing that. On that big old Gronkowski run, there was a block in the back on Christian Kirksey. But everybody likes to act that, they're letting them play. But you know what?
That is the stupidest thing. Hold on.
You're going to let them play? Let them play until the final whistle. This game had no penalties. But if you're going to let them play, how come you don't let them play? Was that the worst call I've ever seen on the Kevin King hold? No, but was that ball catchable? No. Let them play, man.
Tom Brady,
that end the game. Everyone want to act like Tom Brady won this game. I'll tell you who won this game.
We know he didn't.
We know who won this game. We know he didn't. And it was the Tampa Bay defensive line. That's who won this game. And that's who won this game, and that's who will go and lose the Super Bowl because, good Lord, they're not beating that Chiefs team. They are unstoppable.
Hold on. Let's not get crazy now.
They about to get smoked.
First of all, LaFleur won that game for Tampa. LaFleur with that stupid ass play calling, he won the game for Tampa. We're keeping it all the way up.
Hold on. And not only that, the 2-point conversion, my man's got hit in the chest, bro. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Wait a minute.
If Equanimous St. Brown catches that ball, what a different story we live in.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm not saying the whole game is on Aaron Rodgers, but what we got to do though, for once and for all though, we got to put the whole Aaron Rodgers thing to bed. It's done. We're done with this. It's over. Done.
No.
I don't want to hear no more.
Wait.
What do you mean?
You can't
Why?
just.
We're done.
But why does Tom Brady get the nod
done.
because he played worse, but his defense played better?
We're done here though. We're done.
Okay, if we done with that conversation, then Tom Brady is not better than Jameis Winston because he played a Jameis Winston type game yesterday.
He threw 3 picks in a row. It wasn't Tom's fault that the Packers couldn't capitalize, that their line couldn't hold, and Aaron couldn't complete a pass, and the refs wouldn't call a thing. I'm not mad about it, but I'm a little mad about it.
Yes, you are.
You think I'm not hurting inside from this? It is pain, Evan T. Mac. It is painful to watch a whole game when you trust a guy like Aaron Rodgers inherently, and he just I made Evan T. Mac leave
He said it.
how
GG's
painful
in the
this is.
chat, man. That's crazy.
Look, man,
Evan had enough. He said,
it's painful to go back and watch that game and see the egregious no calls. It's painful to understand all the opportunities, even going down 11 in the first half. Green Bay had it within 5. They could have had it within 3, and they had 2 chances, down 5 after a turnover, and got 2 3-and-outs.
Well, David, you got ice.
It is all on the Packers offense, and I understand.
What happens? I'm trying to listen. I'm on the phone. Somebody call me when I'm on the phone. No, listen, man. Listen, I can put.
I made you leave, Evan T.
No, I'm not. Listen, on serious note. Listen, on serious note. I'm not putting anything on Aaron Rodgers, but listen, guys. He's 16 years in the league, guys. What do you want me to put? What I'm trying to say is every time Aaron Rodgers come up short, though, it's everybody else, though. Everybody.
So what do you have to say about that O-line? What do you have to say about him getting sacked 5 times? Like what?
How do you
explain that?
That's football.
Green Bay has never been sacked like that except for playing Tampa.
Hold on, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. That's football, though. What do you mean? What? Like
that means, but that's the game of football where their defensive line outplays your offensive line.
That's what I'm saying. How you gonna get off when you get sacked?
The offensive line got outplayed, and we can't act like they didn't.
Every play.
I becoming a bucket felt like it. I watched that show like it felt like every time.
5 times.
Aaron Jones fumbled the ball to begin the second half.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about fumbles like that, though. But those are things to talk about. Let's not act like, listen, this Tampa Bay defensive line has been wrecking all year. They have, man.
They have.
This pains me. As much as this pains my heart, I watched that game. They
against the run game, they ain't no vaunted pass rush.
They look like it yesterday.
They look like it.
It's great to
work
look
on their
like
pass
that with the line beat up, man.
But you know what the biggest mistake Green Bay made in that game was they completely second half starts. They completely freaked out. The game script flipped and abandoned the run game. Which
it just all in all seriousness, no, man. Just like Scott said, man, Bakhtiari is the biggest loss of the whole game. It's the biggest loss. Bakhtiari is the best left tackle in football. Period. He just is.
He's one of the best left tackles to ever do it.
And he's out, and your best left tackle is out, and everyone's like, oh, they've been doing well, and I'm like, but Bakhtiari is a really big loss, man. And
wait a minute, hold on. Isaac said he got Tampa winning the ball. Hold on, time out. So there's actually people out there that think that Tampa got a chance at this.
Why don't they have a chance though? Why don't they?
Did you not?
Angelo Dawkins, what? Dawkins, what?
So for all the people that thought,
okay,
for all the 80, tell them why the Chiefs are going to win back to back.
No, hold on, calm down. You don't have to say tell me why. Like I said, why don't they have a chance?
Tell everybody.
I didn't say the Chiefs won't win. I just said, but why don't they?
Tell everybody. Tell everybody why.
Ain't nobody sticking Tyreek Hill for one.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah. I mean, my man's had over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, and went on. Shannon Sharp said, "Help is on the way." Okay, help is on the way.
Remember last time they played the Buccaneers? He had 200+ yards in the first quarter, 75-yard touchdown.
Yes, and they won by 4 points.
Yeah,
but it wasn't a back and forth game.
But guys, but you can't say they don't have no chance. Though. That's a little ridiculous, right?
No chance.
They have
no chance, bro.
We all thought the Niners would have chance.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. What? No chance? What?
They have a chance, but we can't pretend like they're because it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady lost to Nick Foles.
Did I say anything about Tom Brady? I'm thinking Tom Brady the last 3 years, but he went to the perfect scenario. He went to the perfect scenario. Tampa Bay was always ripe to do good things, but Jameis you can't overcome 30 interceptions. They needed a halfway competent quarterback, and I like Jameis, but they needed a halfway competent quarterback. So Tom knew what he was doing. He didn't. He went to Tampa Bay Bucks because he seen that roster and was like, "Oh, I can do a little bit." People acted like he came to a trash team. He didn't come to a trash team.
He came to a great team with a trash quarterback, and we know that now.
Let's be real. Bruce Arians had to switch up the game plan because he had Tom Brady playing that risk it, no biscuit. Like he had him playing that Jameis Winston offense, and what happened?
Yes.
Tom Brady was turning the ball over. Tom Brady was not looking that good.
But they take 2 bad
100%.
losses to the Saints. What do? They adjust. I will give as much as I do. Like when I watch a team that I like, Todd Bowles is one of the best defensive coordinators I've ever seen. Genuinely.
Yeah.
When I watch a team that I like, it pains me when they lose. But sometimes I got to look at the other team and just go, damn. And the way Todd Bowles played that game and the way the Bucs were able to adjust and the way
he played Devontae was
and the way they played Devontae and the way as many PIs as they did get away with, they got 5 sacks, and the way they were to get coverage sacks, not just off the rush, off the blitz, I'm impressed. It hurts, and I will not stop thinking I'll stop thinking about it because you know time heals all wounds. But you just gotta hope for next year.
That's what they always say. But I disagree very wholeheartedly.
David Bloom, are y'all still gonna have Rodgers next year? So you want to bring up next year?
Because everybody likes to think that the guy that was behind Tim Boyle on the depth chart is going to be the next franchise quarterback. Yes.
No, he's not, though.
Excuse me?
The guy that was behind Tim Boyle on the depth chart is the next franchise quarterback. So you think Aaron's gone? You think they're going to trade him? Unless they can get Deshaun Watson, I don't think they're trading Aaron Rodgers.
Then they wasted a pick and getting Jordan Love if they're going for another quarterback then. Is Jordan Love ready to take over this storied franchise?
Sammy
absolutely not. It doesn't seem like it.
No. Sammy P. for real said Chiefs by 13. They ain't stopping Kelly Hill. Dylan Matthews never ever counted out Brady. He's in the tape room as we speak. Oh, he in the tape room, baby. We know he in the tape room. I checked Google Earth. I know you got to check. He's in the tape room right now.
But you think the Bills didn't watch plenty of tape?
Hold on, bro. King Kyle Show said these bits are for dude Dawkins. So we got some bits for Dawkins in the building. People shouting out AD in the chat right now. Isaac's losing his damn mind right now, even though his Browns is at home chilling. Yo, Valor May Rodgers to the Cowboys. Oh, I'd kill to see that. Kill.
That would be,
man.
No,
in your dreams. I'm telling you, the only way
I would kill to see that.
The only way you would see that is if Green Bay is trading for a younger quarterback like a Deshaun Watson or something like that.
I'll take him in Philly.
You'll take him anywhere. He's Aaron Rodgers. You telling me
nobody will take Aaron Rodgers, bro?
Yeah, I mean,
never do it.
Anybody will take Aaron Rodgers. Not everybody gonna take Tom Brady.
That's true because listen, Tom is doing really well. Everyone's like, isn't it amazing to do 43? No, you keep him clean, he can do well, man. They keeping him clean. The O-line protected him pretty well. I think he's only been sacked or hit like 22 times the whole year. That's when you keep somebody that clean for this, he's gonna do well. He's attracting AB gonna be healthy for the Super Bowl. Listen, all you want as a casual viewer is the game to be competitive, man. Like because I had no dog in the fight. I want a competitive game, but I'd be damned if I don't want my boy Andy Reid winning another Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles unceremoniously got rid of my dude, and I want him to rack up 15 Super Bowls, man. Firing my boy Andy Reid, man.
I'm just happy that AB and Le'Veon Bell both in the Super Bowl.
I realized that. I was like,
yeah, it hit me for a minute when they're both in the Super Bowl, and one of them's gonna have a ring, and the black and yellow ain't gonna have a ring.
Ben Roethlisberger is punching.
They got six though.
Y'all should have paid Le'Veon.
Ben Roethlisberger is looking like Cuba and Boys in the Hood. He punching air right now. That dude Ben's done too. Though. Ben just don't know he's done. Juju. Ben's done though. These quarterbacks need to know when to let go though. They need to know when to let go, man. Like like Frozen, man. You gotta let it go, man. Just let it go, man. And just sit down. You had your legacy cemented. 2 Super Bowls, your first ballot Hall of Famer. You've done really well. You play for a great franchise. You are hindering your team. The reason why y'all lost is because people realized you couldn't push the ball downfield. They realized you couldn't, and they just shrank the field.
They figured that one out.
I will say this. I think Ben still plays maybe 2 more years, but only. Hear me out.
He shouldn't, but he could.
Hear me out. This ain't for no Super Bowl push. This ain't They got a young QB that they just signed a couple days ago.
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne
Haskins.
Going
Nobody learns.
Mike
Nobody
Tomlin.
learns.
This is interesting.
Mike Tomlin, I don't know about his, like, I've heard disciplinary stuff with him, but like that ain't like, I'm not, but he has been one of the dudes. For one, he's never had a losing season. He's always able to get the best out of anybody that's ever played under him. So
hold on, wait a minute, Angelo Dawkins, one half of the greatest tag team on the planet Earth. Could this be because he went to Ohio State?
I wonder if there's an Ohio State bias when it comes to talking about Dwayne Haskins.
He went to Ohio State, Angelo
He might
Dawkins.
You know what? There is a little bias of the Ohio State thing, but I cannot condone what happened in Washington. Like, he wasn't that great of a teammate, but I don't know. But like, I mean, if there's ever
he was endangering his teammates.
Yeah, so like obviously Washington football team, Ron Rivera going through what he went through. Like, I think it was smart to kind of cut bait. But I think if there's ever a place for him to go, it was either go under Mike Tomlin, who can get the best out of you, or go to Bill Belichick, who will get the best out of you and keep you in line. So
damn, so you're just saying goodbye
hold on,
to Cam.
It's been over for Cam. It's over for Cam.
The Kyle King Show said, fear the Trubisky. This was his plan all along. Sucks so much and wait for the top QB to leave. Now it's his division.
Kyle King Show, you're talking about the MVP? You're talking about the MVP, Mitch Trubisky? My man travels all the way to New Orleans, scores 3 points, and all the Nickelodeon viewers say, yes, that's my guy. Number 10 on the Bears. That's my guy.
That was the funniest thing. That was the first thing I texted.
So AD, I got somebody in the chat, all four in. Something said a quarterback out of Ohio State that goes to the NFL always sucks.
Who's his favorite quarterback?
Yeah, good question. Who's your favorite quarterback? Since you throw a shade, who's your favorite quarterback?
Look, man, like, all right, cool. Like, they stink in the NFL. They get paid, but hey, I can honestly say in my lifetime, like, I was born in 1990, so I'm trying to figure out like a quarterback where I could be like from Ohio State that did crazy in the NFL. I'm like, even I have to think about it as well. But like,
more
Eddie George though, that dude though.
Yeah. Eddie George, man, half the dudes that's owning the league right now are former Buckeyes. So
it's
like,
true,
come
bro.
on, man. Like,
they got this, and they get a crop of talent, man. Every year they get somebody.
Just because it's not all quarterback doesn't mean that they're not getting drafted high every single year.
Oh, he's an Ohio State fan. He's an Ohio State fan. He's okay. So he's okay.
So he wouldn't
all right.
be lying.
I mean, hey, look, man. Like,
great receivers.
I feel the same way. But if you was coming at me with your quarterback being like, I don't know, Nathan Peterman or something, like,
you have to. Well, Nathan Peterman is my favorite quarterback, so I don't want to hear like.
Yo, so hold on.
Better be because you beat Deshaun Watson in college.
I kind of root for my favorite aspect about a quarterback is when they throw a lot of interceptions. So obviously Nathan Peterman is my guy.
Shout out to Nathan Peterman. No, so hold on, AD.
Shout out to Nathan Peterman, man. Hopefully he finds a job somewhere one day, but he won't.
Nah.
The Bills and the Chiefs, man. Pretty much everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion that the Chiefs were going to lose. The Chiefs were going to win. The Bills got there. I thought maybe the Bills they're not ready just yet. I think Josh Allen got short, but they weren't ready. AD. Did you see? You didn't see that game going any way, right? Do you have a thought that the Bills were going to do anything in that game at all? Or you just pretty much thought it was going to be a wrap?
I thought it was going to be a good game. I mean, it was an all right game. It wasn't like they got totally cracked, but I mean, they jumped out to that 9-0 lead. So like,
made it interesting.
Yeah, it made it interesting, but yeah, Josh Allen took a major leap. I
think so.
He showed a lot of arm arrogance yesterday as well. I think they're a couple pieces away.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs is that dude. Obviously, their receiving core is nice. I think they need a running back. Honestly,
all credit to Moss and Singletary, but they need that guy that they can just give it to on first down and not have to worry about 6 yards.
Yeah, I don't want to say they need another DB, but Josh Norman ain't it. I saw Josh Norman guard Tyreek Hill, dog. Yeah. I was like, oof.
Josh Norman is not the old Josh Norman. He is old Josh Norman now. He's kind of.
It's tough being a corner, man. Corners have shorter shelf life than they usually did, man. You're not getting the Darrelle Revis too much. Too many. You know what I mean? Because you remember back in the day, it was Patrick Peterson. They were touting him as the best, and then all of a sudden, you get Nick there. Then all of a sudden, you'll do as well. It's tough being on that island, man. For 16 games, man. It's tough, bro. And you can't touch these receivers after 5 yards. You can't guide them with your hand. You can't do nothing.
Hold up. If you're watching the Packers-Bucks games, you absolutely can grab them whenever you want. You can grab them whenever you want. So I don't know.
It was egregious.
I don't know.
It's just about not getting caught, apparently.
As long as you don't get caught as you force a pick, grabbing the shoulder. So yeah, it must be easy being a DB now if you can play games like that.
So Sammy P for real said y'all noticed when was wearing his LSU shirt. Oh, absolutely, he was running a rough shot in there. All right, we got before we move on. All right, AD, we got a set regardless. Now I kind of heard your thoughts before. I do want to know why though. Chiefs the Bucks Super Bowl Sunday, a week from Sunday, biggest game of the year. Who wins the game in your opinion, and why do they win that game?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
Too good on offense.
Defense looked good yesterday too, bro.
Defense looked great. I will say, they lost an old lineman yesterday, Achilles injury. I think it was Fisher.
Ooh.
But
it was number 1 overall pick Eric Fisher.
Yep. Ooh. Okay. But everything's okay. Pat Mahomes is back there throwing the rock. I was about to say Bach. Throwing the rock.
On the rock.
Throwing the rock. You got Edwards Hyde there running the ball. Le'Veon Bell might have a pretty decent game. I'm pretty sure he's going to be aware of the playbook. You know what I'm saying?
They have a nice. They've created a nice run game to supplement. Obviously, they're a pass-first offense, but the run game's a nice enough supplement that they're complete.
Oh yeah. But expect Mecole Hardman to have a good game.
Ooh, I like that.
If he's catching the ball, absolutely.
I think
Chiefs by 10, so we'll see. My man in the chat said Chiefs by 10. What do you think? Are you a score guy? You like giving scores?
I can. I think the Chiefs will win 44 to 38.
Damn. A high scoring game. Well, last year, if you remember, the Chiefs were going up against one of the best defenses I've seen in a long time and one of the best run games I've seen in a long time, that if they had a competent quarterback that's better than Jimmy G, would have won that game. And they had the lead for most of that game. And if you remember the end of that game, I believe the Chiefs won by 11. I believe they ended up winning by 11. So Chiefs by 10 is not that bad. I think for final score for, Mac, I know you love this. So for the final score,
I hate this stuff. Go ahead, man.
Guys love to write these, analysts love to write these game previews, but they essentially predict everything about the game. They're like, and in the fourth quarter, in this minute, in this thing, he's going to throw a late touchdown here. And then this touchdown's going to combine with this. And it's not going to be anybody. It's going to be this guy. And I'm like, out of where? So the Chiefs are going to win. Probably I'd give them the over-under would be, my over-under probably be 10, I'd say. But
I like that. The Kyle King show. He's watched X-Files. He said the NFL is going to make sure that Brady wins so he can ride off to the sunset with Breeze, Rivers, and Big Ben. Yes, I'm also wearing a tinfoil hat. Sammy P for real said last time they played, Hill had 180 yards against that DB. He gonna eat. Yeah. Todd Bowles is a blitzer, but Mahomes is amazing against the blitz. Amazing against the blitz.
Mahomes is fantastic against the blitz, and Mahomes, what he does, which is great, that teams have not been able to handle, is the second routes. He wastes time, and he makes enough time for his wide receivers, and his tight end named Travis Kelce is one of the greatest to ever do it, and might be when he retires.
If he stays healthy, he's the greatest tight end of all time. If he stays healthy, he's the greatest tight end ever.
If he stays healthy and when he retires, he will be the greatest tight end of all time. Yeah. There is no question.
That's coming from my favorite receiver, my favorite player of all time, Shannon Sharp, besides Prime. Shannon's like, this dude is going to be better than me. Straight up.
True. The way he uses his, the way he uses his frame to catch the ball, at the same time, the way he's an excellent route runner. He is the best combination of what you want as a tight end and what you want as a wide receiver, where Kittle's fantastic, right? But Kittle will give you big and strong, but he's not going to give you super elusive and speedy.
Right.
Hold on,
Travis Kelce.
Isaac, hold on, man. Wait a minute. Fantastic at catching concussion. Wait a minute, man.
Look, if he gets taken out of the game, he gets taken out of the game. If he clears protocol, he does. There's nothing you can say about that.
He's still salty about the Browns game.
That's what he's mad about. He's mad about the Browns game.
He's still salty about the Browns game.
Hey, I'm salty about the game. We got the game yesterday, so I feel you. I feel you.
You want to see that gross AFC championship, the Browns versus the Bills? That'd have been gross.
If you went back 5 years and you said, hey, in 5 years, in 2021, the AFC championship is going to be the Browns and the Bills, they would look at you like you're insane.
Crazy.
I would have been like,
the Browns beat the last year's Super Bowl champs to make it there. You'd go, you're wrong. You're absolutely. You're talking about the Browns that 5 years ago had 5 years? 5 years ago
was hate. Yes, the hate. Isaac, the hate. I'm hating hard.
Not great.
They had like 2 wins.
One of those years they went 0-68, Manziel. It hasn't looked great. So Browns fans need to be proud. I don't know. That defense needs a ton of work, but you'd be proud. It was a great season.
Spike, I see you wrote down. It says, set the stage, man. And less losses when Kyrie returned. Please set the stage, if you will.
Yes. So everybody knows about AD. I don't think we got to talk to you about it, but everybody should know by now.
Chop it up.
About the Harden trade. James Harden did the foolishness.
If you're unaware.
Yeah, James Hardy's, as it were, but I guess he mysteriously lost the weight, so he's back to Harden somehow. Conveniently,
he's rocking a fat suit.
He took the fat suit off. Okay, cool. So he gets over there, and him and KD immediately start getting W. So it got to the point. James Harden, same dude that said that there was something that came out. I think it was I want to say it was Young Thug, and somebody said James Harden doesn't have the internet. That's why he couldn't tweet about why he was going through things in Houston, right? Somehow, mysteriously, when he gets to Brooklyn, he started tweeting up a storm. He talked about, I believe the tweet was, y'all in trouble or something along those lines, as soon as him and KD won that first game, right, against Milwaukee. So Kyrie, we all know the foolishness that he was going through, right? Kyrie going in and out, just pretty much just choosing to leave, choosing to show up when he wants to, showing up in Zoom meetings for councils meeting, everything, all that, right? Kyrie comes back. They play what should have been just a perfect game to set up the big three. Should have been an easy W. They were playing the Cleveland Cavaliers without Darius Garland and without Kevin Love. That should have been a simple, okay, guys, a little warm-up game. It took all three of them to go into double OT with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. James Harden had a triple-double. Kyrie and KD had, I think Kyrie had 38. I think Kevin Durant had 37. And they still took the L because of, Colin Sexton, who he can hoop. He can hoop. But he just that night he summoned the soul of LeBron James in that one, and he cooked.
Keep in mind, in the number 2 jersey for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It could not have been better. So he cooked them, right? So surely we're like, listen, any game, anybody can beat anybody.
All right,
for sure,
yeah.
That's a fluke, right? It has to be. Because you're not beating the almighty Brooklyn Nets, the team that got the 3 most, probably the best offensive big 3 of all time. No way you beating them again. Next 2 days later, still no Kevin Love. They come back and they beat them again. Granted, I'll be fair, Kevin Durant wasn't there, but you still got Kyrie. You still got
Kyrie and Harden. What are you trying to do? If one of them isn't there, you still have a great big 2.
Come on, man.
Great duo against the Cleveland Cavaliers that are, and credit to Colin Sexton and Alabama basketball instead of football this time, but are not one of the greatest teams in the entire world.
Actually, the Cleveland Cavaliers are actually the lowest as far as offensive points in the whole league right now.
And they took him to double OT, and Colin Sexton had to hit some crazy shots, and he did. And James Harden at halftime had like 2 points.
Yeah. So my question to you, let me start with my guy AD. My question to you is, now that we've seen they did get a win, they did get a win finally. But finally, my question to you is, and by the way, I will be remiss, but to say this, Kyrie Irving guaranteed a trip to the finals. I don't know if y'all saw that. Kyrie got on Instagram and guaranteed a trip to the finals. So my question is to you, AD, my guy, are the Brooklyn Nets going to the finals, or is this going to blow up in their damn face because they cannot defend no one and Kyrie is egregious guarantees? What say you, John?
First off, I would like to say that everybody's underestimated the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have the one strength. They have the one strength that the Brooklyn Nets don't have. They can rebound, block shots. I mean, they could dunk, but come on. They have enforcers in the paint. They have about 6 or 7 centers and 2 guards.
When you go get all those centers and they're Jared Allen and Andre Drummond, I expect some blocks and rebounds.
Exactly. Now, Kyrie Irving guaranteeing a trip to the finals. That's funny. That is really funny. I like it.
If you would like it.
I like it. I like it for the simple fact, when has Kyrie ever even done anything since or before LeBron James was on his team?
Nothing.
Every year, to answer your question really quickly, every year before LeBron got there, Kyrie, when he was the head of a team, they were a lottery pick. When LeBron got there, they went to the finals. When Kyrie left, Kyrie was on Boston. He went to them, they were losing, they lost, he got hurt. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Their best season.
He came to Brooklyn with the first year. When they first started the season off, losing streak. Kyrie gets hurt, winning streak. That's all I'm saying. Now we're back to this point.
Kyrie's paved the way for a lot of guys to show up in big moments because he's not been playing. So
it's early though. It's early. I'll say it's early.
You gotta let him. My only thing is you gotta let him develop the chemistry, and if it comes, then watch out.
That's where I disagree because they gave up so much of their depth. I'm a depth guy. I'm a Levert, Allen. These we're talking about we're not talking about I don't like that old role player. I don't like that word. I don't like that. These guys are NBA players. He can play. They just they toss them away because they believe that propaganda that someone's a role player. Now these role players were on the Cavs beating the brakes off y'all. So
Jared Allen had a bunch of alley-oop dunks on y'all.
Jared Allen is fantastic. I'm honestly shocked that they gave up a piece like that away because I thought that he was one of the better big men in the league.
He is.
He is. And him and Drummond together, I know that's not going to keep, but that's a great duo.
Even though Jared Allen looks about 45, that dude is 22. That dude young too.
He do look like he played in 1976 though. He do, man.
Hey, you know what?
You can hoop, and there's nothing about that.
Jared Allen looked like he need to be in a Lakers uniform.
Man, who you telling, brother?
Don't play with me. I'll take that. Give me that.
If y'all can get him.
I'm just saying, man. Just saying.
He's young. They don't give up young guys as easy as they give up vets. So
cool. I think Kuz will like Cleveland.
Cleveland got 7 centers, bruh.
Right. Right.
Jared Allen ain't even the best one. That's the crazy part.
Nah. They might keep him and trade the other guy. They might trade Drummond.
So AD, I did read this. I don't know if this changes your mind at all. I did read this. I read that because Spencer Dinwiddie being hurt. There's like this. I wouldn't say a loophole, but there's a clause in how you do trades where they get it's like $5.3 million that they get to sign a new player because they didn't know about Dinwiddie's injury. So the Brooklyn Nets get that to sign like a lower level player, and then they have 2 roster spots to fill with veteran kind of talent. Do you see that as something where they can make a move maybe get a player to shore up the defensive end because they can't stop anybody. You can't give up 145 points, 130 in the playoffs because the court gets smaller. So do you think those little things that they had, which is $5 million, you can sign a decent player? Do you think that's gonna matter at all when it comes to April, May, and June?
I mean, according to Kyrie and Kevin Durant, they don't need much for them to get there. I mean, they don't even need a head coach. So I mean, hey, for all I care, they can use those 2 roster spots that they have open for Kwame Brown and Slava Medvedinko. Like,
can't wait to see Kwame back in the league.
Hold on for a second. Wait a minute. The Kyle King show. I know, man. I appreciate you coming on the Speakeasy Sports Show and here with the great Angelo Dawkins on here, man. And he says, what has better chance of happening, the Nets winning title this year or Space Jam 2 would be good? And damn it, let me tell you something. It's going to destroy the original Space Jam. Space Jam 2 will be good. Slander has got to stop, Kyle.
It ends today. Space Jam 2 gonna be fire. You need to stop.
It'll be so good.
Hey, man, you know what's crazy?
The helm of it. You got
talking about the Nets winning a championship, bro. It's crazy that the Knicks are better than the Nets right now.
Ooh.
And the Knicks are playing well. The Knicks have been playing above average.
That's not an exaggeration either. They legitimately are a better team right now than the Brooklyn Nets.
These dudes messing around giving Stephen A. Smith hope, man.
Don't do that. Don't let Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle do that.
I'm just trying to figure out when was the last time we have ever heard a player guarantee a finals trip and actually go to the finals. I can't remember the last time that's ever happened. Like even when Braun came back to Cleveland, he was just like he said, he promised to, he made him a promise to take him, but at the same time he didn't say,
yeah, promise and a guarantee, 2 different things, man.
That's what I'm saying.
They better get
a promise is I'll try my best. A guarantee is you can hold me to that.
That means we're going.
That means they gotta hope that Joel Embiid is either hurt, sick, or they have a big man to compensate for him because that dude's playing at a high MVP level right now.
He's playing the best basketball he's ever played.
Ben Simmons, just as tall as KD, I feel like can annoy KD.
He won't hit no jump shots in him, but he'll annoy him.
Yeah, he'll annoy him.
And that's the answer, though. That's the answer. That's the defensive answer. Oh, but yeah, I'm not going to let David Bloom just gloss over the fact that Philly looks awfully good with Doc Rivers.
Ooh.
Philly
That's what I said. No, what I said early. What did I say when they signed Doc? What did I tell you? I said the Clippers will have no excuse when that dude leaves because all they did was blame Doc, and Philly is looking damn good. Joel's looking the best he's ever looked. Ben Simmons is looking the best he ever looked. And that's not just because they played together.
So now you want to put that on Doc. So now
what the hell are you talking about? Of course I do. Yeah, of course I do. Yes, that's what coaching does. What I said,
and they got Tobias Harris.
When coaches put you in a good position to win, though, your team said that Doc Rivers is the reason why y'all lost. So now I want y'all to see what. Now I want to see what the hell y'all gonna do because Doc Rivers' team looking good, right? Number 1 team in the East, right?
They're not looking horrible, but Joel Embiid's been playing the best basketball I've seen. They're looking great. They're looking better than they've ever looked.
Why is he playing the best basketball? Why?
You want to tell me that it's on that Doc Rivers is different?
I'm telling you for a fact it's Doc Rivers. Telling you for a fact.
But why does it work that one way? So Doc Rivers can't hinder a team.
No, it works for people that listen. Coach.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, what started happening was Kawhi started believing his own press clippings. His uncle and whoever else is gassing him up, telling him he can do whatever the hell he wants to do. So now he thinks he can do a better job than what Doc Rivers has done his whole career, besides put you in good positions to win. You damn right Doc Rivers quit on that team because he was like, y'all ain't gonna listen to me, then y'all coach the team.
I'll ask you this. When it comes to the lineups that we've seen Doc Rivers use, especially when it came to the
lineup, yes. Yes.
Do you agree with the way Doc Rivers approaches his lineups?
Absolutely. They're winning.
Yeah.
They're winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's the thing though, right? And we've seen this, and my team's a victim of it.
Right now, you can't refute what I'm saying right now.
I'm not refuting. I'm not refuting what you're saying. But the thing is look, and my team's one of the biggest victims of it. Teams can do fantastic now, but let me see what happens when they get there. when they got to play there, because we're trying to both put Doc Rivers down for being this coach, but then we're trying to anoint him here. So look, I'm not saying he's the worst coach I've ever seen. He just was not working, and I did not agree with any of the lineups that he were.
To me, that's just, it's not the lineups to why y'all were trash. Lou Williams came here unprepared. Trash came out of shape. Kawhi thinks he go dribble, drive around people and shoot mid-range all the time. Play when he wants to play. Practice when he wants to play.
And playoff P deemed himself playoff P.
Let's not forget about Pandemic P scoring 14 points.
Man, leave this man alone, man.
You can't torch y'all in the first game this season, but it's, you know.
Yo, leave this man alone. Hold on. So,
you did torch y'all in the first game of this season. I know it's a regular season game, and I know it doesn't matter as much, but still.
I was going to say that because
you about to say Paul George look good? You about to say Paul George is playing on real? Hey, my man was third to MVP voting a couple years ago, but still showed up to the playoffs playing like a double dollar sign.
Are we trying to say right now that Paul George does not look good this season?
Oh, he looks good every season.
Good.
But I'm talking about better than he's looked in a minute.
No,
you're trying to tell me no?
He was in the MVP race before.
OKC, he was number 3. He went in there. I think that was that the year when Joe Ingles took his heart, or was it the other year, the year after that? Because I remember Joe Ingles.
No, Joe Ingles took his heart when he deemed himself playoff P.
First year Joe Ingles.
How are y'all gonna bring on another guy that's gonna throw this? You did this on purpose, didn't you? Bring in another guy that's gonna throw in the slander.
No. Let me keep it real. Hold on. Let me keep it real. For real. Like, yo, fucking AD up out of here. No, the thing about PG is never about what he does in the regular season. He always cooks. He always cooks in the regular season. He always cooks. He averages about 25 points a game. The dude cooks. He's a pretty good defender. It's them playoffs. It gets weird, man. It gets weird.
You saying that is the same way that I see Doc Rivers being a nice coach in the regular season, but doesn't get it done in the playoffs. That's the equivalency then.
Man.
But how are you going to act like Doc Rivers has 1 championship under his belt? How are we going to act like he's
one more than I got?
Yeah.
I got, but that's less than some other guys have. So how are we going to act like he's some fantastic coach?
No, this is what I'm trying to say on a serious note. I'm talking from an X's and O's standpoint. The problem with Joel, what's his injury? I always think it's injuries. No, it's his conditioning. Also, he always thinks he should be out in the perimeter. Doc Rivers got his ass on that block more. You need to be on that block.
He said, hey, listen here, big fella.
Yep.
Get your butt on this block. Now, if you see an opening where it just so happens where you got to shoot a 3, go ahead, by all means. But the offense gonna go through you in the block, in the paint. Okay?
Leave that
the paint. Okay? Take your butt in the post. Was that what I'm saying?
And credit
to him. In the post.
Credit to him for being able to adapt to that system and proving that he's the best center in the entire league.
Him and Yoke.
Yoke's still averaging triple dubs, so I mean I can't really.
I put him right now. How I feel like put him over, but
I like Rudy. Listen, I like Rudy. Even though Rudy,
200 million.
Even though Rudy was walking around touching all these mics.
Rudy kind of caused a lot of this, but.
Rudy Gobert, man, y'all already know what I said. I said Rudy Gobert.
200 mil.
200 million.
Averaging 11 points.
$200 million.
He's a rim protector, AD. He's a rim protector, man.
He's not bad.
Is AD a rim protector?
Yeah, come on.
He scored 25.
Listen, he's from France, man. He's from France.
But Rudy Gobert doesn't get it done in the around the cup, and it's true.
I'm just saying like facts. I'm just like saying
like
facts.
Jared Allen don't even start. He was giving Rudy Gobert buckets, man.
Rudy Gobert is not that great.
He's getting paid $200 million to score 12 points.
$200 million.
Look, it's you can be good, but when you get paid that much and you're doing that little with that much money, I can't justify that anyway.
I'm about to go pick up a basketball right now.
12 points $200 million. Just to put it out there. I just want to make this real quick. Not even gonna get into it. But you know who else is averaging 12 points? LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball.
Here we go, Lord Jesus.
Here we go. Every show. Now I gotta.
I just want to point out that Rudy Gobert getting his $200 million on 12 points. And my guy,
no, for real. On a serious note, though, because that defensive player of the year thing carries so much weight for some reason. It does. That defensive player of the year thing, he won that, so it carries all kinds of weight and cachet and clout. So they're like, he's a defensive player of the year. He's a rim protector. AD, he's a rim protector.
He's defensive player of the year.
I ain't saying that. 200. I'm just saying, like, I know plenty of other rim protectors who average more than 12 points. Like,
I'm trolling, man. I keep forgetting he made that much money. Yo, let me get AD. Let me get you out of here, man. I appreciate you, fam.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
Yo, you gotta come back. Yo, you gotta come back through, man. This is good stuff, man. Come back through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Take it easy.
Yo, AD, man. Angelo Dawkins, AD, baby.
Yes, sir.
Come holler at me. It was not Aaron Rodgers' fault.
It's that O-line. I'm blaming the O-line and LaFleur. That's what I'm blaming.
LaFleur. All right, man.
Yo, come on.
I'll holler at y'all, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, yo! So we appreciate AD for joining us, man. Give us perspective, man, on the game. It's interesting that the chat's been on fire. Y'all been on fire tonight too, by the way.
Y'all been amazing.
Kyle King is running amok. Use that Doc Rivers logic with Andy Reid. He has one title too. Same with Rodgers. Yeah, see exactly. How about that? That's a good point.
And after that, by the way, Mac, I have some breaking news that David Bloom is not going to like.
Oh no, I know.
You know.
Oh, I know.
You saw it.
Oh, I saw it. There's nothing you can do about it, though. It's like, it's just unfortunate.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Due to coronavirus protocols, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverly will be out for tomorrow's game, and possibly, as they say, 6 games these guys could be out for. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Pat Bev will be ruled out for tomorrow's game, for the game against the against the Hawks. I believe it's tonight's game, actually, against the Hawks. And tomorrow against the Hawks, and they could be out for the next 6 games.
Well, here's what it is. Here's what it is. Pat Beverly is out because of a knee, first of all. Pat Bev's dealing with a knee issue that they're just trying to, not when Lou was dealing with that leg injury, they sat him for a little bit. The problem that arises with, they're not saying that they tested positive, but they are saying that it's contact tracing. So they have them projected out at least till the end of the week.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
That would be the games against the Hawks. Mm-hmm. That would be the game against Miami, which is a tough one to lose your guys for, and then the game against Orlando. And Orlando can give you a fight if you don't have your guys. Yeah. So as much as it hurts, and as much as I don't love to throw, and just even speaking from a game perspective, these guys don't. People are following, most people, and I know these guys are not, because they didn't go nowhere and get pictured somewhere and then catch it. It happens, man. We live in a world, and we play sports in not a bubble, right. So. They kind of try to
be protected by the bubble all the time. You gotta take some responsibility, though. You're a professional athlete, and it's the whole league. With all due respect, I don't care what you want to do. What you want to do. That's not. I told you you can't live your life like I do. Like you guys, you play against players, and they got families, and their families got families.
Some guys don't. I mean, George Hill's come out against it, but guys have come out for it.
Like I said, we're in a global pandemic, though. Like, I don't want to walk out and mask at the grocery store, but that's what I got to do. That's what a brother got to do. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, my thing is, you got to do what you got to do. You notice you'll never hear this about LeBron, though. You'll never hear this, do you?
Never.
Because he does what he's supposed to do. He don't like it either, but he does what he's supposed to do. Right. Damn.
It's really not that difficult. You gotta understand that you have rules that you abide by. Like you brought up George Hill. Like, listen, before the season started, they were told what the rules are. Everybody was told what the rules are. So you got to know you have the choice to opt out, or you got the choice to opt in. So if you choose to opt in, you got to understand you need to follow those certain protocols, because what happens is, and again, I'm not putting any blame on Kawhi or Paul George because I don't know what happened in particular.
Yeah, me either.
But
because it happens to a lot of different guys. I mean, it happened to Zion. It's happened to a lot of different players. But go on, Spike Reek.
But at the same time, it's just like maybe they did do something that put themselves there. Like we just genuinely don't know, and that's what I think Mac's point was, is like, yo, you do got to take responsibility. You are an adult, you're a grown man, you play for a league, you're making millions of dollars, and you want to win if you really want to win. So when you take anything out of what's going to help your team, I mean, listen, bro, I'm making the type of money that they make. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going nowhere. I'm going home. I'm ordering I got my own personal chef. I'm chilling.
You're not going anywhere, because once they get to an away city, they bubble down. They don't go see anybody. They don't go anywhere. That's
same rule
that's
applies.
the
Listen, my thing is, but we're talking about what the kind of money we're talking about, though. We're not talking about, like I can say, we're not talking about what people try to quantify this in your brain. We're talking about where you can literally create your own bubble at the crib. You can bring in a chef bubble. You can bring in massage therapists, basketball court. You could have a party in there if you really wanted to. But you have to, if you did abide to certain protocols. What I'm trying to say is you can do things that other people can't do to make you not get cabin fever. You know what I mean? Cabin fever happens where you sitting around like at a hotel and like, damn, I can't do nothing. But you got
how are you going to get cabin fever when you're about to play a game? You ought to be planning for it. You ought to be taking care of yourself. To me, it's hard when you're making that much money and you're doing the thing you love. I'd never get cabin fever. I just sit there trying to plan for the game, being like, how much am I getting paid this year? Especially if I'm one of the stars. Like it happens.
But you know how it goes, Mike. You know these cats out there, man. You know, especially in La La. That's LA, man. Now listen, people act like, man, what you don't understand. Oh no, I get it now.
Especially the players that are coming into LA. So
Let me tell you something right here. Well, because playing in Utah and there with all these pretty girls and the nightlife, and when you get special preferential treatment for just being an NBA athlete. And I'm talking about VIP. I'm talking about listen. I'm not stupid. Are you kidding me? Are you serious?
we know what it is, man.
Oh my Lord, these bad chicks up in LA, man. These dudes like, let me walk out and just go for a stroll down Rodeo Boulevard, Rodeo Drive, baby.
It ain't nothing. And they consistently do it. And what's crazy is, so LA is still locked down. They kind of eased up a little bit of the bans today, but it's still locked down. Think about
eased up.
Just eased up, right? Think about the team. Think about the teams that are playing against the Hawks, teams that are playing against the Rockets, the Spurs, the Mavs, where the states are open and the clubs are open and the bars are open. So you come, just what you just said, you an NBA player, you getting all this preferential treatment. You go to these states, you got, listen, especially in Atlanta, you know, Chock the city down in Atlanta, you know, all them girls down there, all them strip clubs that James Harden loves going to, and Lemon Pepper Lou love going to, all them
lap dance Lou, baby.
Dance Lou. They got all these places that are open. So it's just like, of course, so that's the reality of the situation. So when I start hearing about these players that got to do these coronavirus protocols, on one hand, it's like, yeah, maybe it wasn't their fault. But on the other hand, I'm definitely side-eyeing them. So what happens is, I hope teams, whether this was Kawhi and Paul George's fault or not, I just hope some of these teams take this as a learning lesson and be like, hey, yo, look, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, so they might miss the next three. You said the next 3 games for sure.
Right. Well, not for right now. The expectation is that they will miss the to the end of the week, and to the end of the week would be Tuesday's game in Atlanta. It would be I believe it would be then Thursday's game in Miami, and then Friday's game in Orlando. That's the expectation. It all depends on if it's a positive test, if it's a inconclusive test, because you saw what happened with when the Clippers played the Pelicans in LA maybe about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Time is a hard construct in quarantine, but it was the game where Zion was going to play up until he had an inconclusive test. He ended up playing the next game, but you have once a lot of things everybody was saying was, man, they're still gonna play this game because Pelicans had enough people to play the game and they didn't have enough people out to postpone it. But you see a lot of games are getting postponed. And the tough thing for me right now, with all these games getting postponed and these players and teams not having enough players and contact tracing and positive tests, what's hard for me to fathom is the NBA is genuinely thinking about an all-star game right now in Atlanta. They are thinking about an all-star game.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
And they're like, we might have it. I'm like, the NFL decided that they're not doing the Pro Bowl like that. There's a celebration, but they're not going and meeting in Hawaii or Orlando or wherever.
That's like an exhibition. Listen, because the thing about it is, with all due respect to the NFL game, the All-Star game is for the NBA is way more of an event, man. It's like it's like a spectacle, man. Like
the Pro Bowl is let's try not to get injured.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Let's keep our jobs.
People don't even really watch the Pro Bowl. That's even good. Pro Bowl.
You don't watch the Pro Bowl. They made them play harder so it would be more interesting. The All-Star game, they like to play, especially with these new rules. But it's hard for me to fathom that in this world where we're not letting people out of their hotel rooms when they're on away games, which is the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong. It's the right thing to do. But how can you say that all these different players, we can vote All-Stars, we can recognize guys, they can still have that All-Star patch on their jersey next year or the year after that. But I don't understand how we're going to allow all these guys from different teams in different cities in different places with different protocols and different allowing fans in this, that, they do. How are we going to let them all congregate? I'm not entirely sure if it's in Atlanta. I've just heard rumors. Anywhere, truly, and play. I don't know if they're going to do a game, a contest. All these guys from all these different teams, and we're trying to figure out how to stop the spread, and they're trying to do this. It just makes no sense to me from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, I always think that you can get away with it with players, though. It's just if you bring it in the people is where it comes interesting. You know what I mean? Different kind of like the fans, because I think you can get the players together. The contest, you don't really mess around with too many people. 3-point shootout is like a socially distanced thing. You know what I mean? The players are already playing basketball games right now. So, but obviously, but eventually, what's going to start happening is because money and revenue is people are eventually going to start coming in these arenas. You know what I mean? They're going to eventually start coming in. So that's what it's really about, protect their players and stuff like that. And for the most part, the people, even though everyone's like, oh, the numbers kind of, the numbers kind of back us up. Like, oh, 400,000 people died in America already. So like this is like people do die of this damn thing. You know what I mean?
It's not a joke, man.
So just think people, because everything changes when like LeBron gets COVID and then passes away. Then all of a sudden, everybody's like, wait a minute, hold on. You know, see, it's not a big deal because nothing big has happened. Like, so everyone's like, oh, so and so tested positive. Someone, so it always has to get ridiculously bad for somebody makes a move. Like, if some prominent player got this thing, oh my Lord, bro, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, that's true. It would definitely be over. You know, I heard that they were doing in Miami with it was very, very interesting, is they actually bring in dogs to do something along the lines like COVID sniffing, which is something I never even heard of before. But they were talking about Miami Heat games. They were talking about that now. I saw that yesterday. So they're bringing in dogs to try to sniff.
Yeah, man, I got two tickets for the floor. Hold up, let me let the dog sniff you first. Make sure you're not sick. Just go metal detector. Just go through the dog test real quick.
Lord.
Right here, the Miami Heat plan to use COVID detecting dogs at home games. Okay, well,
what does that mean? All right,
COVID, say you. Also,
COVID detecting dogs. Is it worth it?
Yeah, before we get up out of here, let's put Shaq's comments to Donovan Mitchell. What say you?
Yes.
Unwarranted, first of all. I mean, look, as a media member,
tell him what happened. Tell him what happened.
All right. So essentially, right, just to break it down, Shaq made in an interview after Donovan had a fantastic game and a Jazz win that have been looking fantastic as a team. Shaq, it was on TNT and he was on Inside the NBA, and he put on the headset, they go there. I mean, he couldn't. He had to admit to Christian Wood that he didn't know who he was. But he was talking to Donovan, and I believe he said something along the lines, just to paraphrase, is your game can't take it to that next level. Something along the lines of that, which is, as much as Shaq wants to see that as just a take, it's look, I can give takes and I say, hey man, if we brought an NBA player on here and I'm like, look man, you got to work on your 3-ball, and that's not me trying to be mean, that's me trying to be honest. But as a media member, using that platform to put a guy like that down after a great night, I mean, you're supposed to be objective, but Lord, that's just not. It's just, and also I think Shaq's wrong.
Yeah.
Because Donovan Mitchell has definitely proven he can take it to that next level.
Oh, he said, take a team to the next level, take a player to the next level. What you saying?
But to say that to a guy after a great game, it's just, I understand you're trying to be an NBA guy with, with your analytics and with your opinions, because it's an opinionated show inside the NBA, and Shaq's an opinionated guy that's played the game. But you just, after a great win and a great game, diminish a guy's talents like that. You don't do that. If you want to be like, look, man, you could have done this better, but it's like,
I'm gonna tell you this,
criticism is supposed to be positive, not mean.
I don't know. To me, it's always hard to get criticism that's positive. Everyone says constructive criticism. I hate all criticism because it always sounds bad. It just does. Sure. You know what I mean? Like everyone always says, like, there's like criticism is just criticism, and I don't grudge anyone for ever feeling bad about somebody dissing them. I really don't. Like you're supposed to feel a little slighted, but my thing about it is the only one thing I'll say about Shaq is Donovan really do need to pass the ball and get people involved though.
Yeah, but why don't you say that?
10 assist game in his career is insane.
I agree, but why not? But why not say that? Why not be like, hey man, you played a great game.
That is insane.
It's true. You're not wrong. Donovan needs to be more of a facilitator than a scorer. But I mean, that's why they got Mike Conley, but Mike Conley's not going to last forever.
Yeah,
you're right. With all due respect to Mike Conley, he don't dribble the damn ball as much as Donovan Mitchell. Good Lord, bro.
No, Donovan Mitchell's there. That's who they play through. But my point is if you're interviewing a guy and you want him to pass the ball, tell him, hey, this is what I think about your passing game, not you can't take it to the next level.
My problem with the whole situation is Shaq. I was all over. I was on Twitter when people posted this. When I forget who posted it, TNT or ESPN or Sports Center, whatever the clout chasing platform that's trying to like make this bigger than what it is. Like I was reading people's comments, and one thing I hated about the comments I read though is a whole bunch of people acting like Shaq is like some savant that's trying to hype up Donovan Mitchell. He was trying to light a fire in him. When nobody's saying Shaq was just being a douche. They were all like, that was
actually one of the that was literally what I was about to say, which is in the form of almost like in the form of a question too. I mean, when I first saw it, I was torn because I was wondering, I'm like, damn, is Shaq really that much of a hater, or is he trying to motivate him? But at the same,
I don't like that they hit that. Yeah, I know that, Spike. I do, and I felt the same way, and I was like, I just don't like everybody I was reading was like, you guys are so dumb. That's what he was doing. Like, first and foremost, stop acting like Shaq. Stop acting like Shaq is like Stephen Hawking. Stop acting like he's writing the Christopher Nolan movie and he's such a deep thinker that he was saying that to make Donovan Mitchell. Because let me tell you why I don't like that as an excuse. Because people are different kind of people, especially a person like me. That would not make me want to do with Shaq. That would just piss me off. Not in the way where I'm gonna not the way I'm gonna do what I want. No, that's not gonna make me do what you want me to do. Everyone gets motivated like that. Not everyone gets motivated like that.
No, because then somebody's asking you, hey, play the game how I want you to play it. You change to how I see you should change. And guys will either go, yeah, I'll do that, or they go, no, I'm gonna just keep playing my game, and now I'm a little annoyed at you.
Yeah, for example, if he takes the next step, Spike Reed, he ain't gonna credit Shaq.
No, hell, would he?
I appreciate that interview when Shaq told me that I couldn't do it. Now that I can, no, he's gonna go.
Embarrass me and basically call me trash on live television. No. See, the thing is, here's what's crazy about this whole scenario, right? And it's the one thing I'm so sick of. We've talked about it before, but it needs to be said again. I am, and let me be clear. Let me preface this with Shaq is the greatest big man of all time. Let me preface that by saying,
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah,
best big man of all time. These old heads need to shut the hell up. I'm sick of it. I'm done. Shaq is officially moved into that category of the old heads. Well, when I was playing, back in my day, my era, we had it. Shaq is officially one of those guys now. He's one of those dudes that is like, oh, well, you know, when I was playing, we had the best team. We had the best.
You know what's interesting? You know, Spike, you know what's interesting about what you're saying? No, you're right. You know, you're right about that. You know, because let me tell you why you're right about that. I like when he does it to Joel because he can speak on Joel. Because Joel, he can speak on it because of he sees the potential in Joel and has to be dominant. But this has always been my problem with Shaq. And Shaq, I give Shaq credit because it's always about Shaq, you know, helping people out and yada yada yada. So that means people think he can't slander somebody. But let me tell you something right now.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq, what Shaq does, man, I go, Shaq, listen, bro, you were great, Shaq. You were big, bro.
You were a great center.
When I say he was big, what I'm trying to say is, Shaq, would you really be this good at 6'2"? Because he was like, oh, you supposed to just demand the ball and just do whatever the hell you want. Shaq, you were 7'1", 330, 340 pounds. Can you please stop, bro? Like, some people hit the genetic lottery, man. Can you please?
You won, man. Congratulations. Some other people.
But he acts like everyone's just supposed to go, it's the killer will. I hate that killer instinct stuff. When you're 7'1", 330 pounds, I ain't trying to hear nothing about no killer instinct.
You gotta develop a facilitating game and a shot and a layup. You do. And you can dunk it.
On this particular situation, both the two best players in the league commented on it. Let's start with the second best, which is KD, arguably second best. Arguably number one. I mean, like arguably number 2 through 5. Let's be clear. But KD said them old heads need to go enjoy retirement. These boys have coaches they work with every day. LOL. So KD basically is pretty much what we just said. Like, look, bro, like y'all old heads is hating at this point. Y'all need to just stop it and knock it off. Then the GOAT, who has faced more criticism, I feel, than any athlete ever. The GOAT, LeBron James. He comments.
LeBron James has faced more criticism than O.J. Simpson.
Like by far, though. It's not even close. It's not close. Like, there's a dudes, but Ben Roethlisberger actually did it. You know, he did the R word.
Yes, and we do know.
Criticism that LeBron did. I mean, everybody. But LeBron says that there is a difference between constructive criticism and soft hating. You can hear it in their delivery. And
that's what I'm saying. That's the whole point. Is there's a difference between what can I say to you, even if it's a bit harsh, that I feel like my expertise can help you improve your game, and what can I say that's just subtly hating on you? And if I was talking to an NBA player and he did something that I didn't like in his game, and I was like, with the knowledge that I have of the game, right? I never played, but with the knowledge that I have studying and watching the game, I would say, this is what you need to improve on, and here's how, and if this works for you, go for it. But you know what? If you do and it doesn't, then hey, I'll admit that I was wrong. But if I just go, yeah, you kind of suck tonight, low-key, that's just me.
That's why. I'm sorry.
What am I saying to you? What am I saying to you, right? That would help you be a better basketball player. If I'm not trying to help you, we're not trying to build each other up, then we're hating on each other.
But that's what I'm trying to say right there.
Or neutral. Let me neutral, but he's not being neutral.
They try to act like I'm telling you, they try to give Shaquille O'Neal, with all due respect, Shaquille O'Neal, they act like he's Christopher Nolan. Like he's such a deep thinker that he's wrote the plot of Inception. And he's incepting Donovan Mitchell to make it think at the end of his career, it was his idea all along, even though it was Shaq doing all the string pulling. Bro, listen, bro, you're hating on your boy. And you see Donovan Mitchell, it made me like him even more. He's like, all right.
Yeah. But here's my question, right? Here's my question. Donovan Mitchell was drafted later than we all think he should be. He is outperformed. He's proven himself. He has been able to become the face of a team that went through a big old change when they lost Millsap and when they lost Al Jefferson, Gordon Hayward, Williams. So why hate on Donovan Mitchell?
Team sitting at 12-4 early in the
season. But why hate
on
Donovan Mitchell? But why?
I had absolutely no problem when Shaq was critiquing Rudy Gobert for several reasons. One, because Rudy's getting 200 million to score 12 points. I mean, he gets 12 rebounds, whatever. Like, so and Shaq was a center. Best center of all time, I feel.
Like I said, so that right there. See, exactly. Critique Rudy Gobert. That's fine.
Center, two similar type players. Obviously, Shaq had a more versatile game than Rudy Gobert, but they play similarly. That's great, man. You know that position. You don't know Donovan's position.
Yeah, it for me, it was just really weird that he did that, and it was like Braun hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's really soft hating. Like Shaq, what I've noticed with a lot of these older players, and I've really noticed it with Charles Barkley for real, is like,
God,
dude. Is because back in the 90s when they were playing, right? The game, look how much they was getting paid, right? They were not getting paid like that. I remember when I saw The Last Dance.
That's what this is.
Scottie Pippen signed it was a 7-year deal for $18 million. You got some cat. I think Montrezl Harrell's getting $18 million for 1 year this year.
Easy.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just like,
oh yeah, people get paid more.
The money that he was making, the very little bit that they were making back then, they see these cats now who they feel as though are as talented making just 3 times that, and so it's a whole lot of hate. It's just like, and that's what I feel like.
It is.
It's 100% what it is.
Look, some of it's true, some of it's true, some of it's not. Some people are just better, so they make more, and some people are just a product of the way money is changed.
And inflation, bro. Like,
let me keep it real. But let me keep it real too, though, man. That's not a popular opinion. This is, and I tell you, I wish this show was a million people watch this show, and because I say this to right Shaq's face and Chuck. I don't care. Shaq got too much he has too many investments to strike me. I'm not. He has too much of a good reputation to strike you, boy. Like a random brother, he'd be like, "Damn, why'd you hit Evan? What'd he do?" My thing is, and not the Shaq though, but with all due respect, man, guys, and I'm telling y'all, man, if you guys, there's so many. These players are so much better than these old heads, man. They just are, bro. They are. There's so many players that are better than Charles. I'm telling, they just. And nobody wants to admit that, but Charles was good. But listen, man, it's the people and what they did for a living after the season that these guys, their competition, these athletes now, all they do is sports. That's all they do. So I don't care how much your nostalgia makes you feel about these older players. Guys, they didn't do sports 24/7. All these guys do is when LeBron got done, he had less than 2 months to get ready. Come on. And he still was in the lab. What I'm trying to say is what was Chuck, 6'5"? What was come on? Who I can name 20 players that are better than him right now that no one would think was better. I'm like,
You know what it is. You just reminded me of something, right? And this is, I feel like these older players, they need to take what I like my view on the situation. This is why they need to take my view on it, right? So, David, we both know how y'all got deep pulls with wrestling and everything, right? I remember me and you was having a conversation one time, right? So for me, I was a huge wrestling fan, like talking about 90s, early 2000s, right? And the newer guys, I watch a little bit, but not really that much, right? You guys know way more about that than I do, right? I remember having a conversation with Mac one time, and he was telling me that, like, I was like, man, look, the best wrestler, I got Undertaker, and I'm like with all these guys in the 90s, right? And I remember Matt would tell me was, yo, no, them dudes is cold, but these new cats, just off evolution, they're much more athletic. They're much more like they are athletes is what they do. I was smart enough to be like, well, let me just use common sense. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that as evolution goes on, as nutrition gets better, as everything gets better, yes, I'm sure the wrestlers of now are much better athletes than the wrestlers of back then.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why these old players and old heads can't apply that same logic to basketball. Back in the 90s, it is going to be with good players that were dope. Just like in the 90s, it was good, dope wrestlers. But just evolution, nutrition, everything is going to get better.
Like knowledge, like what they know. Like they the sports medicine, the doctors, recovery time. Do you think back in the day someone thinks someone can recover from an ACL, Adrian Peterson, in 8 months? Are you serious?
Come on now. Come on.
8 months? Yeah. Like what I'm trying to say, guys, this is not about like I'm telling you, and it's always old heads because that's your era. You want to protect your era. Maybe, just maybe one day I'll be like that. But I'm telling you, I'm not, because I'm already starting to see the evolution now. I'm already starting to see it now.
I'm looking at the cast that's out now versus the cast that was out when I was in high school. When I was in high school, 2000 to 2001 to 2005, I was out in high school. I'm looking at the era. I'm looking at the players from back then and looking at the players now. Come on, man. You look at guys like back then.
For example, remember 2000 dunk contest, greatest dunk test of all time. Now drop Aaron Gordon in that one. Let's be real.
Ooh.
You see what I'm trying to say is it would be he can do everything though. He can, man. He can.
Naturally just gets better over time, and I don't understand why these guys don't want to grasp that concept. You know what I'm saying? It's absurd. When I was watching the because I definitely keep a good eye, especially just for this show. I keep a good eye on the Brooklyn Nets games, and I was watching that Brooklyn Cavs games, right? And the commentator was talking, and he said this one quote that will just stick with me, and it was just so annoying. He said that, listen, all I'm saying is that these players are really good nowadays. But listen, if you drop Michael Jordan in this game, and he brought up Michael Jordan, and he said, you drop Michael Jordan in this game right now, and I quote, he'd average about 40 to 45 points. I'm just like, come on, man. Like, and this is I'm like, come on, guys. Like, come on, man. Like, enough.
I've only heard one argument. I finally had somebody make a good argument about Michael Jordan in the new era, because I was like, I've been waiting on one my whole life, to be honest with you. And it was crazy. It's from my boss of all people, big sports fan named Joe, man, and he said, and this is the first real legitimate argument. I was like, that actually makes me think. I just said it makes me think. I didn't say he was right. It makes me think. This one. Now they all, and I've heard that a million times, not just by that guy. You drop Michael Jordan in as Michael Jordan, his exact form, his exact body, he'll drop 40, 50, 60 points a game, per game. Even though Paul George would strap him up. I promise you. Promise you he would. I promise you. He's bigger than him. He's stronger than him. He's just as quick as him. I'm just letting y'all know Paul George would lock him down. He just would. I'm just telling you, it'd be harder for him. So this is the first legitimate argument I heard. It was, if you drop Mike into the new era and he had the same training and the same sports nutrition and the same this, and he came up through the ranks like through North Carolina, let's say 2000 North Carolina, and then he grew up through the era of LeBron James. Okay, now we can talk. But that's not what people say. They say the version of Michael Jordan from the 80s into this era. That's crazy.
Well, can you say that? Because to me, obviously, if you put Michael Jordan in this era and he had the medicine and the training of this era, there would never ever be a question ever again of who would be if he had what these players have now. That's the thing. So it kind of makes you ask yourself.
That's a solid argument. That's the first real argument.
That's a real solid argument.
Yeah, it at least makes sense. I can get with I can.
Yeah, because you see, because it's logical. It's logical. You're like, oh, okay, you know what? Okay, we dropped Mike in. 20-year-old Mike, because let's say he still went through his proper channels and got out like 2021. He got drafted by the Clippers. He had every single thing at his disposal, but that LeBron did. Every single thing from sports nutrition and knowledge to contracts or whatever. Now you're like, he'd be the best. Like, oh, okay, I can think. That makes me think a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I mean,
If that were the case, then there would never be a debate again.
I don't know, but because Joe's saying he'd be like 6'6", 230. You know what I mean? That's what he's talking about.
He's still not as well rounded though, as far as the assist game. But I mean, but he still could be pretty solid, and I can get with that.
He'd be a little more than pretty solid.
To shoot threes. Michael Jordan chose not to shoot threes. That wasn't a part of the game. I go, no, the 3-point line was there. It was still there.
Oh, and by the way, it was actually shorter. Let's just be clear about that. It was actually shorter back in Michael Jordan's era, but a lot of people don't want to talk about that. But that's once again, that's another conversation for another time. Last thing that I wanted to say before we get out of here, and sometimes I just want to know what y'all think about this, right? So the two people that are considered, we all of us don't think Tom Brady's the GOAT. But a lot of people do.
A lot of people, but he's not the GOAT.
A lot of people do.
And that's no disrespect to Tom, because what he's been able to do in his career is fantastic. But he's not the greatest.
Yes.
Not to me.
I don't think so either. Well, right, but they're considered he's considered the GOAT right now. Okay, cool.
Yes. Oh, by far. For right now, just for right now, we are in the minority. Us three, we're in the minority.
Yeah, for sure. So Tom Brady and LeBron James, two guys that clearly are defying time and era. They're beating Father Time's ass right now. Both of them. They both are coaching. So they both are 10 appearances. I mean, Super Bowl and finals. Yep, cool. 1906. You feel where I'm going with it. They each are at 10. So one thing that I do find very interesting and it's really gotten on my nerves is that one of those guys gets critiqued, gets slandered, gets just completely, his legacy is tarnished because of finals appearances that aren't won. But the other guy, his finals appearances, Super Bowl appearances, is just praised. Because that's
weird.
I'll tell you this. I'll be the first person to, as great as we can all admit that Tom Brady is, I'll be the first person to not throw immediate praise on these appearances, especially these losses. Believe me, because because you're right. Your sentiment is exactly right. Everyone likes to put all the stuff.
6-3 right now. 6-3.
He's 6-3 right now. His losses were stupid. I mean, his losses were to when they literally went 18-0, 2 times Eli and a Nick Foles in games that they all could have won. They were dumb. But the thing is, and it's the reason why it's hard for me to connect football players and basketball players, is because one thing that makes basketball and being a full-rounded basketball player more important than being a full-rounded basketball player is football is 11 versus 11, and then you go away, and then it's another, and then it's a different 11 versus a different 11.
Correct.
Basketball, I don't care if you're subbing, man. You are playing the whole game. Playing also constitutes sitting on the bench because that is part of the game. It is the same. Most likely, probably around a 9-10 man rotation, normally on 10 or 9 or 5 or however you want to say it, the entire game, the entire season. So and you're right, as much as people want to give Tom Brady all this hype, and as good as he is, I don't see it like that because I see, Tom Brady didn't play any of the defense. Tom Brady didn't hold the Rams to 3 points. The Pats D held the Rams to 3 points.
You better believe it.
Tom Brady didn't protect himself. His line did. The fact that Tom Brady can do that in a clean pocket is great. Not a lot of quarterbacks can. He's not bad. He's great. But point is if we just throw that number out there and we just say, all right, 10 this, it's like, you have to understand Tom Brady had this line and he had this defense and he had these players and he had Randy Moss. And the one time they do have a fantastic season, I'm talking about one of the best ever, 18 wins and no losses. They lose in the Super Bowl to a team that was a wild card. So as much as you're right, and I'm in the minority by saying this about Tom Brady, but I don't, the same way that, everybody likes to kind of put this juxtaposition. Yes. The same way this slander happens, I'll be the first person to tell you, I don't agree with all this Tom Brady praise, because how are we going to praise Tom Brady for beating Green Bay when Tom didn't beat Green Bay? Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, Sean Murphy-Bunting, if he wasn't holding
them up. That's facts.
In all seriousness, I watch literally every snap of that game, and my whole thing about it is we gotta do away with this whole they let them play nonsense. If you call it one way throughout the whole season, you either call the game, you either call the game. Are they the rules? If the rules that you enforce them. Don't tell me when it gets to the highest people. They started that narrative and everyone just fell into that. So you mean at the hardest game of the year? Now there's wiggle room.
Now let them.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on now.
But
now,
then you're gonna have all the wiggle room in the world.
Nah.
But then at the end of the game, on a ball that I don't care if he tugged his jersey, man, uncatchable. Now you're gonna, and they threw that flag late. They're like, "Are we gonna let him play?"
Yeah, they're like,
Tom in the Super Bowl. Let's put Tom in the Super Bowl.
No, so what I
infuriating.
No, so what I wanted to see, Tom is the only thing that bothers me about Tom, and it always has and it always will. I watched that game. The clock reads 0-0. Here comes Joe Buck. Tom brings back to a Super Bowl after that performance that Todd Bowles put on. He goes, Tom Brady's back. So not that the Bucks are back for the first time since 2002, 18 years ago. They said Tom Brady's back. That's what pisses people off. That's what it is. I go, he just said Tom Brady's back in the Super Bowl. The Bucks defense did a number.
because everybody wants to paint the most popular narrative. That's the thing.
What it's all about. I just don't understand. And I mean, what I need to really like Evan T Mac. I need you to explain to me, why is it that 10 wins from 10 appearances from one guy is literally the main reason why people try to eliminate him from the GOAT conversation. But then on the other hand, 10 wins is why people say he's the GOAT.
That's very easy. I'm glad you asked me that question. This is a very simple answer. It's a very simple answer. Let me tell you why it's a simple answer. It's so simple. It is so easy. The reason why is, and I figured this out years ago, people do not want here goes the difference. People don't want LeBron to be better than Mike.
Yes.
For some reason in the NFL, years, it's so weird. Years ago, I mean, this is what it is. No one's ever said GOAT this, GOAT that when it came to football ever. It just didn't. They didn't. When they're talking running backs, they always would say Barry Sanders is the best running back. Dion's the best corner. They would say best corner. They never used the word GOAT. You know, after LL coined that phrase, everybody owes LL a check in first of all. Everybody else, LL Cool J came up with the GOAT as one of his albums. Y'all owe that dude a check, man. If I ever get to see that dude on them, like, he got any residuals from everybody saying that? Because you started that.
Right.
But so my thing with that is, so that was never the conversation. But one thing I do know is everyone has universally recognized that Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever. So as soon as a young whippersnapper comes out from Akron, Ohio, and he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, he didn't put himself on that cover. They put him on that cover. They call him the chosen one. He gets a tattoo of the chosen one. From that moment on, people decided that no matter what, first they wanted to fall flat on his face. When he exceeded expectation, they were like, okay, now this kid's getting real good. That's why, as you see, as he gradually started getting good, the voices got louder that he's not the best.
Yes.
When it comes to Tom, man, they just don't mind, because no one really definitively said Joe was the best. People people have love. When I know about football, and what I love about football actually is people's favorite players aren't usually the best players. It's who they love. Like, I asked my dad, who's the best running back in your opinion? He'd be like, Jim Brown. I'd be like, why? And he would tell me why. That's my dad's era. I'd be like, yo, who's your favorite player? Oh, yo, Barry Sanders. Why? Yo, it's the way he shook people. Yo, who's your favorite quarterback? Yo, that John Elway drive. See, it's like plays and moments. So all of a sudden they were like, yo, Tom Brady's GOAT. Tom Brady's GOAT. And I'm like, okay. And so there's nobody here to refute it. Joe Montana, he don't give a damn. See, he don't care. But this is why they are trying. They don't want Michael Jordan's legend to die. Period.
Well, football's also tough. Football's also tougher to show this idea of, because if we were to genuinely sit here and we were going to talk about who is the best football player ever, the best NFL player ever, well, then you got to start asking, wait, how? What do you mean? Because football, you have every position doing a different thing. So it's like, is he better at this and he's better at this? In basketball, in hockey, in soccer, in baseball. Well, baseball is also interesting because you know, defense, offense, but in baseball as well, a lot of the guys, besides for pitcher and hitter, a lot of the guys do the same thing. So when it comes to football and throwing out that GOAT narrative, it's like, well, when you say GOAT, you mean like quarterback though, right? Because like when it comes to like the greatest football player, well, you know, as you know, sure, Tom Brady's I'm not saying he's a GOAT, but he can throw the ball well. And Lawrence Taylor can hit 70,000 times harder than Tom Brady ever could, but Tom could throw a better ball than Lawrence Taylor, and they're both football players, and they're both great. It's so difficult to announce somebody as like, well, he's the greatest in the sport.
What I'm trying to say is no one really came to Joe Montana's defense is what I'm trying to say. Right. When somebody whispered that Tom was the GOAT, no one was like, wait a minute here. Joe Montana's 4-0. He's 4-0. He's 4-0 in the Super Bowl. He's never lost a Super Bowl. Oh, well, he had Jerry Rice, though. You know, he had Bill Walsh, my favorite coach of all time. He had Bill Walsh. He had this, and this. And like, so there was whispers. When LeBron started talking, I was like, no, Jordan, Jordan, nope, Jordan, no question. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you a deeper theory. My deeper theory. I've been studying this. Literally, this is the only thing I've studied my whole life when it comes to sports. Probably for the past 17 years, I've been studying this. I'm telling you, it's the shoes. Period. is the Jordan brand shoe that every brother on earth has a pair of them. Most brothers collect them. Even white people collect them. Even Asians I know collect them. The world collects those shoes. So if you say LeBron's better, then you see what I'm saying? But you're obsessed with the Jordan brand. I'm telling you, when it's really hit me, I argued with a dude in a bar, and I knew for a fact he didn't know basketball at all.
Yeah.
But he had a pair of Jordans on, and he knew about every Jordan year, every Jordan color it came out. He knew about the shoes because the shoes have become bigger than the player. And when I hold people's feet to the fire, I'm like, why the hell are you riding so hard for MJ? I know you don't know the game. So why are you riding so hard? And I look down at their feet, they wear a pair of Jordan 12s, a pair of Jordan 11s.
I specifically remember, I will never forget, I remember when the LeBron hate started really culminating, right? Everybody they really liked LeBron from 2003 to 2009. People loved LeBron, right? As soon as he went to Miami, that's when it started to shift, right? And so that's when he became the bad guy, right? He won the first ring. I remember the whole internet was all the memes about LeBron has no ring. You can't be a king without a ring. All this foolishness, right? So he wins a first ring, 2012, wins his first ring against OKC, against KD, wins his first ring. Then all of a sudden the memes became some foolishness about, I only got Michael Jordan and Kobe is sitting there like, I picked up the phone and I got 5, it was on 5 rings and 6 rings. LeBron picked up on 1 ring, like little foolishness like that, right? So then when he won his second one, then it became, okay, now he only got 2 rings.
He went from not having to, he only got.
And I tell you what, right? Exactly. I'll tell you what, right when they lost to the Spurs and then when they lost to the Cavs, that was the first time in my life. I have been watching basketball. I've been playing since 1994. That's when I started watching the game, right? I will never forget. I have never heard the phrase finals record. Ever. Until 2015.
And I mean ever.
That term was never coined. You can look back at any point. There was never the term coined finals record. That has never happened, not ever. They never checked Magic Johnson's finals record, never checked Jordan's, never checked Shaq's, never checked anybody. Finals record was invented to slander LeBron James and try to say that he was not as good or on the same level as Michael Jordan. 1,000%. They had to find some way. That's what Cool said. The goalposts always move 100%. They had to find some sort of way to make sure that he was not Michael Jordan. What they tried to do, what they came up with is finals record. And so
they started seeing it, bro. They started seeing it. They were like, wait a minute, this dude is coming. There's got to be. They had to think of the only possible way that could separate the two. So what they decided on was, okay, the only thing we can do to separate is a team accomplishment. Yeah, essentially. Because finals record ain't got nothing to do with the players, the individual players. That has to do with the team. Nobody messes with Tom like that. Nobody messes with Tom like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. Over in football, yeah, even if with Tom Brady, it's like he has a winning finals record, but nobody even said nothing about that. Nobody talks about that's how you know finals record is not a real thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah, because they don't. Because they really, you're right. They don't. You're right. They don't say that at all. They're not like Tom Brady is. Well, he's lost 3 of them. Like that. Like damn. They don't say that.
Well, nobody say nothing about finals record. So I just feel like that's kind of crazy that is. I think that we definitely touched the point of that's why the difference between the two. It's unfortunate, man. It really is.
It is though. It's good stuff though. Because I always think about that. I'm telling you, man. It's the ghost of Michael Jordan. That's what it's about. It's not Tom Brady really doesn't have a real true. They tried to do it with Peyton. They tried, and then they realized Peyton Manning's postseason record couldn't match up. So they just started getting quiet about it. I'm so then they just started leaving Tom Brady alone, and nobody was like, "Oh, Tom Brady's a really great player. Well, he'll go down as one of the greatest ever." And then all of a sudden, I'm telling you, man, Sports Center, boy. These channels, man, they have Sports Center. I don't know who be running sports.
They do that though. They are hypocrites of themselves in ways that they love these people, they don't like these people, and no matter what they do, it's true. In fact, I would say that,
dear Lord,
that in any sport, if you're, let's just say you're a quarterback, because for some reason we like to only throw quarterbacks in that conversation of like, well, he's the GOAT. But I would agree that in a sport like hockey, hockey, soccer, and basketball, right? Those are three of the big team sports. A team accomplishment is more impressive than a team accomplishment in football and in baseball. Because if you want to throw a baseball at me and you say he has these many rings and these many rings, and I'm like, how many at bats did he have in the game? How did he do that? How many plays did he make in the outfield? Or how many assists did he have? Or how many putouts did he have?
It's funny because when Matt was saying these sports shows, like what they do, like David Bloom, I know you even got to think this is egregious. I'll never forget last season when remember Kawhi just came to Clippers, so everyone was all hype about it. Everyone was talking about how great Kawhi is. I specifically
because everybody buys off hype and they ride the hype. When look, I don't mind being realistic. Why is fantastic? But I want to be realistic about everybody. And as much as I don't think LeBron's better than Jordan, but I'm not chill with the LeBron slander. I'm not fine with the LeBron slander because you're right. Yeah. Everybody likes to slight him. While me, I don't think calling him second best is slighting him. People don't even like to put him second best. People like to put him lower.
Smith had him at 10. Like, it's just like just talking foolishness.
Which is crazy.
Shut the hell.
Which is crazy.
But the thing is, I remember specifically on the topic of the sports shows, how they can create a narrative and run with it. I mean, you're going to get into how much Skip has created LeBron narratives and people ran with it. That's
the thing, though, right there. That's my example because I figured him out. He's that in love with MJ, though. Seriously. He has like 5,000 pairs of Michael Jordan shoes. That's his favorite player. So, and he has a platform. So what I'm trying to say is it's so childish, but that his goal is to make sure everybody that's watching thinks Michael Jordan's the GOAT. That's his goal.
Yeah, Skip in particular, that doesn't sit. His thing doesn't sit right with me. I just have a problem with, and I hate to be this guy, but I just have a problem with a white man making $8 million a year off of slandering a black man for 16 years. I just have a problem with that.
And that's how he does it, man. Because he loves MJ.
See, I would respect a lot of it, and I respect a lot of the people that can talk sports and just be real and not go to a point of, and just be real. And it's like it's look, if I want to talk about my favorite player of all time, I will. He's not the greatest of all time. He definitely changed the game, but I'm not going to try to be like, well, you could make the conversation. He's not.
Gotta be real. He
won finals and he won one game, but he's my personal favorite player of all time, and that's just that. So I like to take all this idea of bias. I like to take all my fanship, and I like to take it when I talk about personally the players in NBA. I want to take it out because I don't want to talk about why I like this player, because personally I'll sit there and I'll cheer for this player, but if we get on here and I'm talking about, well, I didn't like what this guy did, I'm trying to be unbiased. And so it does pain me when guys are biased towards this guy or this guy, and they want to throw all these conversations in the ring and say, well, this guy's good and this guy's good. Well, no, couple things. Either you love this player, you grew up watching this player, or you staunchly believe in this ideal and you won't move from it. So if you can tell me unbiasedly what, and a lot of people, some people can't, some people can. But if you could hit me with unbiased arguments about anything basketball, I will listen. But the minute a Laker fan starts trying to tell me why the Lakers are the best franchise, and I'm like, man, we could debate this, but I'm not trying to hear it from the Laker fan that has been watching them his whole life or her whole life, and is like, well, I'm like, because you have a love for them.
The thing that really was wild to me was last year when Kawhi first came to the Clippers. I'll never forget. This is one thing that's going to be burned in the back of my mind. Colin Cowherd got on his show and he said that if Kawhi Leonard if the Los Angeles Clippers win the championship this year, and Kawhi is the first player to bring a championship to 3 different cities, he will be, and I quote, top 5 of all time. This dude said that Kawhi Leonard was going to be number 5 of all time. Kawhi Leonard, who has yet, and again, I like Kawhi. He's a great player. Kawhi Leonard does not have, he doesn't have, just to be clear, he doesn't have 10,000 points, by the way. Right now, Klay Thompson has more points than Kawhi does. So Kawhi Leonard does not have 10,000 points, but he was going to put him as top 5 of all time if he won a championship. And there is a big section of idiots that listen to this because they get their sports knowledge from just watching TV the whole time.
This is what I'm trying to say.
That's what they do. And look, I'm a fan of the team that Kawhi's on. Personally, I'm a fan, but I don't want to hype Kawhi. But at the same time, people that don't like the team, I don't want to hear them dissing him. So it's like, don't diss him because you don't like the team, but don't praise him because you do like the team or don't like this team. Let's just all be realistic about these guys.
How about this? How about you just watch the damn games? That's why
Don't study the narrative because they paint this narrative that's like, well, he's going to be. I'm like, how about we just watch them and we appreciate them? And he plays such a different game than all these guys, man. Let's just appreciate him for a little bit. I don't
debate people to where I can tell that your only knowledge comes from Twitter and watching First Take and Undisputed. I can tell those people. I can tell those people that you only watch those, and that's where you come with.
The best knowledge is watching the game and tendencies and stats. That's the best knowledge you could find. And research and looking up stats and looking up not highlight tapes, but looking up raw footage of them playing, because that's how you're going to determine a player. What do you think a scout pops on Twitter and checks what everybody's saying and hops on First Take and it's like, well, what are they saying about this? No, man, they go to the games and they watch and they study the stats and they're unbiased in their opinion. They don't, hey man, I like the way he moves, so we're gonna draft that guy, but that guy sucks. We're gonna draft him because I like the I went to that high school, so
that's what Twitter says.
That's what Twitter says to do. So
yeah, man. All right. How you feeling, everything, man?
No, it was good, man. It was crazy. It's interesting, man. We talk about that all day. So it's one of those things where, like I told you, when it comes to Mike, Braun, I don't argue no more, bro.
Yeah, I'm done.
I can't argue with people, especially when I know.
You're gonna rarely find people that are objective. You will,
and that's where it starts. It's not even about me thinking LeBron's better. It's just you're not even. You're coming. Lord, you're coming just because now you're on the party where you're just hating because it's fashionable to hate on somebody. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. It's like not even now we're getting personal now. Like it's okay. Yeah, man. With that being said, that's for us, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Y'all hung in us with us, man. Shout out to AD coming through, talking, man. Always fun, man. Yeah, man. Spike Reed, we're gonna back and brother.
Instagram Spike Reed, Twitter Spike Reeds with an S. Make sure we got some new Spike and Isaac minis coming out. Got a big Spike and Isaac episode coming out middle of February. And just make sure y'all enjoy our content that we got coming. You feel me?
David H. Bloom.
Instagram, Twitter. Not feeling great, but that's the life of a sports fan. If you ever want to feel good,
Aaron Rodgers stinks up the joint.
O-line and LaFleur. That's all I'm blaming it on.
I don't want to. Hey, look, they played a man.
Watch that third and goal.
Just let me wallow for a bit, man.
Third and goal. Watch how wide open.
He could have run.
He should have ran.
Do you want my personal opinion on whether it was Rodgers, the O-line, or the coach? It was all three.
Yeah.
It was all three. And the defense, not just Kevin King. The whole defense and Mike Pettin and everybody
I agree.
I'm a wallow for a little bit, y'all, but I'll be fine. So.
Yeah, man.
Underprepared. I want to couldn't do it. It wasn't just Aaron, but it was partly Aaron. It was everybody.
In all seriousness, though, it didn't look like for a minute, whether it's true or doesn't. Didn't it look like a coach that was in over his head though? Didn't look like the moment was too big for him though.
Look, as great as I believe LaFleur is.
It looked like the moment was too big for LaFleur, man.
It looked like it was bigger for Mike Pettin, though. It looked like it was bigger for Pettin. He had no idea what to do on defense.
With that being said, though, there were 2 or 3 huge missed calls, though. Huge, though.
That is also, but that
interception, with the shoulder pull,
which was terrible. And think of it, those missed calls were also on the drives that the Packers went back-to-back 3 and out. If you make those calls, they continue to drive. They continue to drive when they made a call on a helmet-to-helmet on Devontae Adams on a scoring drive.
I don't like when referees determine games of that magnitude.
Because they were so it wasn't like they're so blatant.
Man, see, man, why you had to end it on that note? Because now you just gave me a major flashback of 2018 Finals Game 1 with the Cavs and the Warriors. They overturned KD charge on LeBron. Oh my God, I just had the biggest headache ever. That was, for the people that don't know, that was the charge that led to the next play, which was George Hill missing those 2 free throws and J.R. Smith making that foolish, ridiculous move that we now know as the JR. So, oh my God, that just
I'm
determining games.
I'm gonna have to hit up every Saints fan I know, and just obviously they had it's more egregious to them than it was to us, but it's something like that where
that 2018
calls. But if you're not gonna call it, then don't call it on the last play of the game. If you're gonna let him play, then let him play, because we all know he would not have caught that ball; it would have sailed over his head. And for that shirt grab, I can't. It's hard for me to. I blame Kevin King for a lot, but not that, because that was an egregious call. And if you're not going to call the ones on Sean Murphy Bunting, then you better not call the ones on Kevin.
That's the only thing everybody's saying.
But everybody loves Tom Brady.
I gotta sit here and listen to Tom Brady get hyped up for 2 weeks.
But everybody loves Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, so the refs are like, we'll let this one slide.
Well, the Lakers are about to play the Cavs in 5 minutes. I'm about to get me a drink because I need one now. After thinking about that 2018 Game 1. So yeah,
I want the Chiefs to beat the Bucks like 45-0.
I don't like rooting for the best teams in the NFL, but I want the Chiefs to beat the brakes off the Bucks.
Breaks.
Mahomes is the best quarterback currently in the league, and playing at the level of playing, not all time, but the way he's playing.
He's a track team though.
But he does that. He does have the best team. He does have the best offense in the entire NFL. So
yeah, man.
That's gonna Chiefs fans, you enjoy.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Take care.
Man.